Yeah, Christo, I'm not feeling this anymore.
What do you mean?
Well, the music, the Zoom call, being away from each other, I'm just not feeling it anymore.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe we should update things around here.
New season, new setup.
And new theme song.
Hit it. Hi everyone, welcome to Queer Stories on the Swan, a podcast where two gay men chat and discuss all things queer in the Perth LGBTQIA+ community. I'm your host Chris.
And I'm your other host, Christo. Today we'll be chatting to Scott Cain, his coming out story and the running of Queer Perth.
So sit back and enjoy the show. And we're back.
Oh my God.
So
hi.
welcome back to Queer Stories on the Swan. This is the premiere episode of season 2.
Woo.
Yeah. When was our last episode? May.
Oh my God.
Our season finale was May.
Wow.
So it's been a few months. We've taken
A winter break.
We took a winter break. You're working full time now,
Yes.
Scott, Chris.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, sorry, that's the name of our guest. Sorry, so many names today. So yeah, you're working full time. I'm studying. I've got 2 jobs that I'm juggling at the moment as well. So, things are busy as well. But I have been able to make some time for this podcast to come back to it, and I'm so happy. And we are actually recording from a studio now.
Uh-huh.
So all previous last season, we were recording everything through Zoom. So I was at my place, Christo was his place, and then our guests were at their place. Episode 4, Jazz was with you.
Yeah.
So it was just one Zoom call. But now we're here at Christo's place. We've set up, Christo and his beautiful partner, Steve, set up this gorgeous studio space. Actually, the day before, so yesterday, as of this recording, you brought me in to prepare for it. And oh my God, my reaction was just, I wish we recorded it.
I'm kicking myself for not recording that.
Well, if you saw our socials,
awesome.
I mean, I'm still gushing about it.
Yeah.
So that part is still obvious.
Yeah.
But we were recording on like 3 Rode microphones. We got lighting. We're videoing some of our content now. So I'm looking at the phone. Hello.
We're professional now.
Yeah, and we got a Rodecaster here, a little sound mixer as well. So it's very, very good. And I'm so pleased. I am just gushing over this space, which means I can also add in little sound effects like this. There's no joke there, but I thought I'd just hit the sound again. I know.
Oh dear.
I love it so much. It's like a little toy that I get to sit next to.
Why did I put him next to that?
You didn't stop me, so
Yeah, less work for me, I guess.
Oh, it's so much fun. So much fun. So we'll be having our guests coming in, and they'll be coming into the studio. So
First
we'll be
guest
sitting
in the
here on
studio.
a beautiful couch. So we did some furniture shopping. If you saw our socials, you saw our thing. We just took a trip to Amar. We saw this beautiful blue couch, beautiful coffee table. Yeah, oh my God. I am so happy
I was
with it.
so worried that it was going to take us forever to find something.
Yeah, and
Because we've never discussed like our interest in furniture.
No, that's we've not known each other for long, and our furniture interest was not something that we thought would come up. But we thought, look, let's set up a studio space for next season and have something to identify with us. And it's absolutely gorgeous in here.
Fabulous.
So yes, very, very fabulous. We are staying fabulous in a fabulous new setup. I feel great, fabulous. I can sit back and I can chat. I'm not talking at my work desk at home where everything's sort of cramped and yeah. So what's been going on with you, Christo? What's been going on in your life other than working?
Besides working, not much. I'm pretty quiet and chill. I think because now my weekends are so important.
Yes.
That I need to, clean and keep up my housewife duties, but still try and see people.
Yeah, and actually go out and socialise too. Well, that's good. Well, I've been, I've been socialising a little bit myself. I've had a couple, this this week has been like a week off from TAFE, where I've been able to just turn my mind off that for a while, keep on working. I've also been seriously dieting as of this week. I just need to lose a bit of weight. There was a bit of health concerns with me around my liver. So, but I brought it down now, and I've been on a very strict diet, and now I'm under 100 kilos again. Woo! So I've been losing the weight, and I feel really, really good, really healthy again. You and I, Christo, as last weekend, as of this recording, we went to the Out and Proud Expo thanks to Perth Gay Social Club. Shout out to you, Oddie, where we got to meet quite a few people
very cool.
showing their businesses. They recognised us. So
I know, that was crazy.
for those who are listening, shout out to you.
Yeah,
we can't possibly name everyone, but we met quite a few people, and it was really, really lovely. And we hope to meet more of you and hope to get more of you on the show. So if you are interested in coming onto the show this season, we have still got quite a bit of space. We don't quite have 10 guests ready. So send us a DM and we would love to have you on to the show. So, and you don't have to come to the studio if you don't want to. If you still want to do a Zoom setup, we are more than capable to do that as well.
But don't be afraid to come if you want to.
No, please don't. Christo has been working hard to make sure this place is nice and lively, and it absolutely is. It's full of positivity and light and love, and that's what we want from this podcast.
Yeah.
And I feel almost at home here.
Yay!
No, Christo's been trying to kick me out, and I have not left in a whole weekend.
You just won't leave.
I just won't leave. It's such a nice couch.
At least you got somewhere to sleep, I guess.
True. All right, so we're officially back now.
Yes.
So we'll be continuing our fortnightly release. Yes. So this episode will be coming out, if my calculations are correct, the 17th of October.
Oh wow!
That'll be our official premiere. So,
dun, dun, dun.
Yay! So we wanted to come back right before Pride.
Yes.
And, the trailer did say this spring, and it is spring, so we're keeping to our word.
As your hay fever has kicked in.
You can hear it, can't you? Just before we started recording.
Oh, the sneezing.
I was sneezing, and I'm like, oh, my God, why didn't I take an antihistamine? Because Christo's place is like, you're basically a farm here.
Yeah.
Like, you got animals and flowers and stuff everywhere. I'm like, oh, this is a mistake.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have come without an antihistamine.
You know for next time.
I know for next time. That's all right. Our candle is helping to make the room smell very, very nice. Shout out to Equal Candles. We've got the Thirsty Beach flavour, very, very fruity, which is fitting for
delicious.
us. Yeah. Bunch of fruits sitting around talking about fruity stuff.
Yeah.
Next to a fruity candle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think next to colourful Skittles.
Oh.
Have you got that we're gay yet?
Don't give it away.
Yeah, the title's it's very subtle.
We're men.
That is probably the straightest I've ever heard you do.
Straight as I can be.
Stick to your housewife job, sweetie.
I will.
All right, we're gonna
waffled on enough. Yeah,
we have waffled on enough. I mean, that's what we do at podcasting, and I've missed waffling on with you.
So have I.
And all right, so we'll get into our guest interview now with Scott Cain, who runs Queer Perth.
Let's do it.
Hi everyone, this is Oddie from episode 10, and you're listening to Queer Stories on the Swan. Always remember to stay fabulous.
All right, Christo, we have our guest in the studio, Scott Cain. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, very, very good. We're very pleased to have you here.
Thanks.
Now, for those who've met Scott, you know who he is. For those who do not, Scott Cain is the guy who runs Queer Perth. We actually chatted with the Queer Perth host of their podcast for our season finale, and I thought we need to have the producer and the guy who runs it over here. So here we go. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. I made it.
Yes. You didn't get lost.
Beautiful new studio here, Christo. Very good. I'm a bit jealous, to be honest. I'm thinking, how can I fit this into my 2-bedroom apartment?
Yeah.
You could always come over and do it here.
Oh, that's true. Nice, thanks.
Might start renting out to other people. Who knows? But that's up to you, Christo. So with you, the crossover will be complete. So the Queer Stories on the Swan, Queer Perth.
I'm sorry,
complete.
it won't be complete till we have you on our Queer
yes.
Perth podcast, which is
that's true.
scheduled for season 2.
Oh, good.
Yes, I've just come
Yay.
from Clint's kitchen where we recorded the trailer for season 2.
Oh.
And so later, at the end of this month, we'll have season 2, and we will have to have you on, definitely have you on
Perfect.
for season 2, and that will complete the...
Yes. I stand corrected. Thank you so much, Scott. So, all right, we're going to go straight into the questions. Now, are you ready for this?
Sure, let's do it.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah,
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift in my mind.
Come on, Chris, pull up the questions. There we go. Those who want to start a podcast, be organised. Okay, here we go. All right, so, Scott, when did you realise that you were queer?
Okay, that's a good question. I reckon I didn't have a word for it when I was younger, and I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and so there wasn't the representation that you see on TV or anything like that now.
Yeah.
And the most I heard of gay people was like an insult that people said in the playground.
Yeah.
And even then, it wasn't really, it wasn't something that... Like, there was never anything positive. Everything on the news was about AIDS and HIV.
Of course, it was that
and
time.
all the ads. So to be gay or to be queer in any way was just... It wasn't something that anyone wanted to be from the perspective of a young person, like a child or a teenager growing up. So I'm sure I had feelings, but I knew that the feelings that I had, I couldn't tell anyone about. In fact, I remember when I was about 12, my wall was full of posters of Kylie Minogue.
Yes.
And I was like, I can't have any of the male singers on my wall because if anyone sees any male singers on my wall, they're going to think that I'm gay.
And the Kylie won't at all.
Kylie,
No. Well, no one will know about Kylie. I mean, come on.
She's the biggest queer person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And before that, I had a bit of an obsession with Batman as well. And I'm pretty sure the tights and my continued love for Lycra is a direct result of Batman. So that was the thing. And then I reckon that movies really helped me. So I used to write a diary all the time, and I remember pretending to write about, even in my diary, fooling myself, pretending to like girls. And then I remember watching the movie, the Australian movie about football. What was it called? With Russell Crowe.
I think I know which one you're talking about, but the name escapes me.
I wouldn't know. It's football.
Should we pause and quickly look it up? 'Cause it's actually...
Okay, I'll look it up right now.
Yep.
Okay. So, when did it come out? Do you know?
Yes, in like the early 90s.
Okay, 90s.
No, so let's say 95. Around
90s
the
film,
90s.
footy, Russell Crowe.
Australian gay movie.
Russell Crowe. Okay. Was it The Sum? No.
The Sum of Us.
The Sum of Us.
No.
There you go.
Okay.
The Sum of Us.
All right, let's go back. So it wasn't until I watched the movie The Sum of Us, and I actually sat down and watched it on TV with my family, and it was about, if you haven't seen it, definitely worth going back and watching. Russell Crowe was coming out to his father, and his father was accepting him, and he was being part of the football club and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right.
And it was after that I remember writing down in my diary, after a big long page of rambling, I am gay. And it was kind of a realization to myself. Maybe I had said it in my head before that, but to actually write it down and to see it written down in my own hand, it was like something, I don't know, it was like it was a moving thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So movies helped. Representation works, right? So seeing something in real life, it really helped. So I would have been about... Actually, would have been about 18 then. I know that's older than most people now, but remember, this is 95, 96, before the internet, before I even knew, gay porn existed, pretty much.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. You just don't know it exists until then. So, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
What was coming out like for you?
I came out when... I decided to move out of home before I'd come out because I wasn't sure how my family would react. And so I was in... like everything, coming out is a series of steps, right? It's not just one... Well, maybe it is now when somebody puts it on Facebook and everyone sees it at the same time. But at that time, it was a case of telling a few people at a time.
Yeah.
So the the very first person I told I'd got movies helped as well. I'd gone to see the movie In and Out, and it was kind of a terrible movie. But after that movie, we came back to her place, and I sat down. I said, "Oh, I have something to tell you. I'm gay." And she laughed because she thought I was joking about the movie. Because in the movie, the character is coming out, and then he's back taking it back again, and then he comes out again. And she kind of thought I was like being funny, like in the movie. And I'm like, no, I really am. And she was cool. She was okay. It was a bit awkward, but it was okay. And then I started to just tell a few select friends, and my whenever I told them at that time, it was like, okay, I'm telling you, this is kind of a secret, but if you tell other people, just let me know. Like, if you tell our circle of friends, just let me know so I know.
Yeah.
None of them let me know. They all told their friends.
No.
And in a way, it was okay. Like, it meant that I didn't have to come out many times to those groups of friends, but I would still have liked to have known.
Yeah.
But then, so I was at uni at that time, and then I decided that I wanted to come out to my family, but I wasn't sure how they were going to react. I hadn't really hadn't heard positive things about gay people, but I probably hadn't really heard negative things about gay people in my family. It just wasn't really talked about. But I wanted to be, I didn't want to have to rely on my family in case they kicked me out or something like that.
Yeah.
So I moved out of home. I actually moved out with the first friend that I actually came out to. We moved out and lived in like the suburb next door. And then I wrote my mum a letter. So I was concerned that if I just sat down with her and said, if I'd had the courage to sit down with her and say, "Mum, I'm gay," that she would just, all the preconceived ideas that she might have in her mind might just spark off, and she'd close off to what I actually wanted to say, have the whole conversation.
Yeah.
And again, HIV and AIDS was a big part of the conversation in those days. And I was concerned that the first thing she would be worried about is that I was going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which was the case back then as well, many times. So I wrote a letter, and I put it in the mail, and then I kind of freaked out, and it was in the mail, so it was going to get. I couldn't get it back out of the mailbox at that point. This is before email even.
Yeah.
So then I kind of freaked out, and I didn't sleep that night. And the next day, in the morning, maybe lunchtime, I had a draft of that letter, and I put the draft in. I drove to my sister's house in Subiaco at the time, and put the draft of the letter into her house and wrote above it, into her letterbox, and wrote above it, "I've just written this letter to Mum." And then I drove home again, and then when my sister saw the letter, she called me and she said, "Oh, I love you." That's, all the nice stuff, all the stuff you like to hear. And then she came, "Shall I come over?" She came over. And then later on, while my sister was there, my mum called, and she said, "I've got the letter. I've read it. Are you sure?" "Yes, Mum, I'm sure."
Yeah.
"Okay. I don't know what I think about it yet." And she hung up the phone. And like, my sister was there hugging me on the phone. It was nice to have that.
Yeah.
This is a landline, by the way, before mobiles.
What's that? What's a landline?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck.
I do remember landlines. I'm not that young.
Yeah. No, we're talking. So this is like 1999. So end of before the 2000s.
I was 9.
You were 9.
I was 4.
How cute. Whatever. I was 19. No, actually, I was 20. No, I was... Yeah, anyway, whatever. I was 21.
Right.
The next day was a Saturday. I went to work. I was working at Dimmick's bookstore, and I spent all day at work. And then the moment I got home from work and shut my front door, I heard a knock on the door, and it was my mum at the front door. And she opened the door and she said, "I love you." She gave me a big hug, and then she said, "Okay, let's go and have a chat."
Yeah.
So we went to the Hillary's Marina and had a coffee, and we sat down and we talked, and I said, "Oh yeah, Mum, like, this is how it is. My first boyfriend was at my 21st birthday party at your house."
Yeah.
All that stuff. And yeah, we talked about it, and it was kind of nice. And really, at that point, Mum hadn't been exposed to what it meant to be a gay person, other than, you know, an insult or something either.
Yeah.
So I understood that it took her a while to work out what it even meant, what that meant. And at the time she said, oh, you know, I don't really know anything about it. You know, let's continue this conversation.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice. But then in reality, we didn't talk about it again for about 10 years. So even though Mum was quite cool about it, she was okay about it, but she just kind of, at that point, she kind of stopped asking questions about what I was doing at night, or when I was going out, or who I was with, or about my friends. And honestly, I just stopped. I didn't push it either. I just didn't say anything about it either. I just kept that kind of half of my life or part of my life quiet, because I just didn't know how to have that conversation again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was in a relationship with a guy that I loved, sort of 10 years later, that I told my mum about the relationship, and that kind of we started opening up again then. And honestly, now we talk about everything and almost everything and anything, and we're closer than we've ever been. But it took time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. I'm glad I worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Me too.
So how did you navigate school? You know, that especially high school, during that awkward time where, you know, puberty's coming through, you're starting to realize things about yourself. How did that ultimately go for you?
I'm super triggered by the word faggot. I don't like it at all. I don't like it when we, you know, embrace the word and we can call each other that word. I really struggle with that because I got that all the way through high school.
Yeah.
And I still get, literally my stomach churns when I hear that word.
Yeah.
So even though I hadn't come out, I wasn't really, I didn't know that I was gay even in high school. You know, obviously everyone around me was calling, you know, I was the kid that's always doing, you know, the best kid in class for art and for, you know, I got that art award at the end of the year, and I was not sporty at all. It probably didn't help that I have a twin sister, and so who is super sporty. She's awesome, and she. You know, I always used to go, oh, she got the balls, and like all that sort of stuff as well. So, so my high school experience was to be as small and invisible as possible.
Right.
I never wore brands because I didn't want to be trying to look like a surfer or trying to look like a rock kid or whatever. It was all about just disappearing as much as possible. The good thing about that time, though, was that I joined a youth theatre group. And so in school, I was hidden as much as possible. But outside of school, in my youth theatre group, I could be as out there as you like and have fun and be open and be my natural self. And I think that having those two sides of myself kept me safe, but kept my mental health good by having an outlet, but kept me safe at school, I guess you could say.
I relate directly to that. Like, I was such the quiet kid in school, but when we did drama, that was one of the compulsory units for like the first 2 or 3 years. It felt incredible. Like that's my footy. That's my outlet. So yeah, it kept me from going, well, I'm still insane, but you know, I was insane with a purpose.
Yes, good. Gotta be insane with a purpose.
Oh gosh.
You next, Christo.
All right. What was your first gay experience like?
What do we count as a gay experience, though?
Like, when did you first kiss a man?
So I reckon my first gay experiences involved touching but not kissing.
Oh, okay.
So, like, it was related to the theatre group, and then it would be like we'd have had somebody's party or something, maybe like an end of, what was it exactly? Like an end of performance party. And then we'd be having had a few drinks, and then the party was at a house that had lots of couches. We'd all be like, have had a drink or two, and then, you know, everyone was under blankets, and then it was a like creepy hand touching each other's fingers under the couch, and then creeping across to somebody's, you know, So across and then sort of touching each other, pretending to be asleep so that if anyone else woke up, that's nothing was going on. I reckon that was probably my very first experiences. That happened twice. And that was before I came out to anyone. So,
but that felt right to you. That was like, this is what's doing it.
It confirmed. Yeah, it probably did. It was almost like, I don't know, how do you think about it? It was almost unconscious in a way. Like, not unconscious, so you knew what you're doing, but like, it wasn't like, you weren't making a decision. It felt right for you. It felt right. I assume it felt right for the person. We were both moving very slowly. We were probably both having our first experiences at the same time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't more than like, no one even came. It was just touching through clothes or carefully unzipping pants and stuff
that you know
like
of.
that you know of. That you know of. Yeah, exactly. So that were the very first experiences. Yeah, which is kind of cute and innocent now. But like I said before, I had never seen gay porn.
Yeah.
So even my first first experiences with sex, I didn't know what to do. Nobody, I didn't know if they knew what to do. Like it was all a lot of fumbling around and
really awkward.
Really awkward. But also there was nothing to, I don't know, like I didn't even know, like some stuff later on when I was with somebody who was more experienced than myself, we did things I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, wow, that's amazing. We can do that. We have pleasure. We can enjoy pleasure there.
That's possible. Oh
my
goodness.
Yeah. So there's that too.
No, that's really good. All right. So you now run Queer Perth, right? So how long has that been going on and what inspired you to do so? Like, what was the thing that made you go, I'm going to create this whole like database for the Perth queer community?
Okay. So I decided that having an Instagram page called Queer Perth sounded cool. No one had taken the words Queer Perth before. And I'm like, nobody has queerperth.com. Nobody has @queerperth on Instagram or Facebook. Oh, I'm going to sign up for those and think about what I can do with them later. So that kind of started. So that was probably when did I do that? Probably in the beginning of the pandemic, really.
Right.
And
so
then
like
I was
early
thinking,
2020?
Yeah. And then I was thinking, okay, what can I do with it? And then I was looking around at all the events that were kind of the explosion of things that were going on during the pandemic in Perth. People weren't travelling. There were a whole lot of new events starting up. Community groups were getting closer together. There was a real thrive. The community was thriving at that time, and there was, unless you followed all of the individual sports groups and all of the individual social groups, there wasn't one place where everything was coming together.
Oh, yep.
So my goal at that time was to bring everything together under one banner, and if somebody didn't know what to do on the weekend, they could look it up, and all the events would be there for them to do on that weekend. I tried to do that for a while, and it's really hard. There's so many things going on.
Right.
And I reckon for the first 6 months, I was probably 4 to 6 months, I was probably spending about an hour or 2 hours per day trying to keep it all together on my own. And I just couldn't do it. It was too much. So I kind of let it go a little bit. And then the following year, I decided to pivot and think about another way that I could do that and include a lot of events and include diversity, and that was in the form of a podcast. So I sat down with Ian Oddie, who runs the Perth Gay Social Club, who's also the president of the Hornets, who's across a lot of stuff, and then spoke to him about being a host, and then we were talking about who our other host might be, and his friend Clint was interested, and that was perfect. Like going ahead with the podcast was really the direction that I could manage and handle, and also a way of covering a lot of events and reaching out in community groups and making people aware of things, and maybe in a quite digestible way. So that was how I changed what Queer Perth could be, and now going along the lines of the podcast route, I've as we've discussed, I've thought about maybe we can expand the podcast idea and have a few more podcasts and bring them together under the Queer Perth banner and start a kind of like a network. So now I'm thinking about starting the Queer Perth network and including some local podcasts, doing some more myself, bringing some others in.
Good luck finding them.
Yeah. and so that's where we're at this point.
No, excellent.
Exciting.
Cool. Very, very exciting stuff.
All right. Now that Queer Perth has had a podcast since March, what made you start a podcast for the page, and what benefits, challenges have you apparent?
Have been apparent.
That's the word.
I think that so some of the benefits have just been the feedback that we've had from people, especially people who have listened and been able to relate to my hosts Ian and Clint about their personal stories, and also some of the people they interview about how they've been able to see themselves in their stories. Personally, I've gotten to know Ian and Clint so well, and it's really helped us get close and be quite bonded in a friendship as well. I didn't really expect the personal benefits, but I should have. They're amazing people.
Yeah.
And
podcasts bring people together.
Podcasts bring people
Christo
together.
and I met through TikTok out of all places, and then we just, he came to one of my shows one day, and then we just started talking after that, and then a podcast thing came up, and now we're just really, really close.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
Now you've got a whole podcast studio in your apartment.
What have I done?
You're committed now, sweetie.
Yeah, exactly. So the way that we've come together has been really nice, and we've managed to speak to a lot of people of a lot of really diverse backgrounds, and learnt so much about different individuals, and that's been really great. Definitely one of I've got like a bucket list of people I'd like to interview, and some of them I haven't been able to tick off yet. Yep. So definitely one of the challenges has been getting more. I want a lot of diversity and getting more diversity. I'd like even. Hopefully for season 2, we will be even more diverse than what we've been in the first season, and speaking to a lot of different people. I mean, I'm a gay man, Ian's a gay man, and most of our exposure is to the events and things that gay men are doing. So we really make a point of trying to open up and reach different parts of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yeah. Like some of the more trans events and non-binary.
Exactly.
And all that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really important to provide a platform for everyone's voice. Yeah, I think.
No, I definitely agree, and that's why we started this podcast. And the people who have been on this show so far, we're very, very grateful for. We've been able to get so much insight into that, and I can definitely relate to that. All right, so what advice do you have for people who are experiencing a similar journey to you in terms of like coming out and I know this is a different time now than it was back then during like the AIDS scare and everything, but there are still a lot of people who can relate to your story. What advice would you give them right now who are listening?
I think just don't necessarily. If you're coming out to your parents, they need time because they're adjusting their expectations for you. Sometimes, they're adjusting their expectations that they always had for you. They don't always understand it. Even now, they've got assumptions, preconceived ideas about what it means. And in reality, it's just you. Now they just know a bit more about you. Like you're the same person. You're just a bit more three-dimensional. Yeah. But to a parent who don't necessarily know any different, they might make all these assumptions about you having a sad life or having, making life more difficult or it might be more of a struggle for you because of these things. But so allow them, give them a little grace, allow them for that time, and I mean I I said that we didn't talk about it for 10 years, but I probably should have pushed a little harder if I wanted to. I could have pushed a little harder to have that conversation a little earlier, but I was okay. But I was okay with that too. Yeah. It doesn't have to be. You're not always going to get the big hug and I love you and bring your boyfriend over in the beginning necessarily, and that's okay. Yeah, life is longer than just this year or next year. You can allow for things to happen over time.
Yeah, very much agree. Do you want to hit the last question, Christo?
Where can we find you on social... let me try that again. Where can we find you on socials along with your pages?
Sure. So you can hit up Queer Perth on Facebook and on Instagram and queerperth.com. And you can... there's quite an active Queer Perth group on Facebook as well. Most of the events I now post most events there. And the cool thing about that is that there's a little events tag at the top of the Queer Perth group. And if you click on that and see more events, all the events coming up are on there that have Facebook events made for them. They come up chronologically there. So I'm trying to do that way. It's a lot easier than having it on the website now. But there is also a few Queer Perth groups. So look for the Queer Perth group that is by Queer Perth. Okay. And I've got a million Instagram pages. But if you see if you want to see me, Scott G. Cain is the main one. You can link that in the show notes.
Yes, will do. That's why I asked. Scott, thank you so much for joining us, and
thank you.
Congratulations, you're our first guest for our second season. Cool. So our Queer Perth side has been done, but we are very, very keen to be on your show for season 2.
Good. You'll be able to find your page, queerperth.com/queer stories on the Swan, unless we call it QS. Okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss this.
Put a link.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss it a bit further. We're working on because we say QSS Studios just because on these just seems a bit insignificant compared to Queer Stories Swan.
Yes.
So, but we'll work that out. But I just wanted to sound it because Queer Stories on the Swan Studio, it's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah,
so,
it's an ongoing conversation. It
sounds good. Yeah, cool. But thank you so much.
No worries.
Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Woo.
Hi everyone, this is Clint from episode 10 and you're listening to Queer Stories on the Swan. Always remember to stay fabulous.
So, Scott's gone. We had had a great chat with him today. So
it was really good.
It was really, really nice to chat to him more. We've been talking to him for a while.
Yeah.
To
at events and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and it was just great to know his story. The story with his mum. 10 years we're not talking about it. It's
that'd be so hard.
It would be difficult, but I suppose because they had that moment where I love you and everything, and I suppose that kind of helped him there. And some people don't get to have that. Some people,
they miss out.
Yeah, or who just don't know. Like I didn't know with my dad for the longest time.
Yeah.
Until we talked about it.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, no, it was absolutely great speaking with him. So yeah, look forward to us being part of the Queer Perth network, something that he advertised. If you're following Queer Perth, you should. Those guys are great. Both their podcast page and just following Queer Perth in general. You'll be seeing a bit more of us there. So very, very excited. So we hope you like our studios as well. We Steve and Christo worked really, really hard setting it up. I admired it from a distance until I came in here. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. But it's absolutely amazing. We absolutely love everything we got here. It's truly fantastic stuff. So, all right, I think that just about wraps up our first episode of season 2, episode 11.
Wow.
Episode 11.
Yep.
Yes.
There's more to go.
There is a lot more to go, but we are very, very excited to be back and on this beautiful, nice couch. I could just fall asleep on this couch. Maybe I could just rest here when I'm not doing podcast episodes. So I'm hibernating here for 2 weeks, and then we got a guest in. I'm up and awake again, and then I'll just retire back again. If only it was that easy. Thank you so much for listening to our show, and we look forward to seeing you next episode as always. Thank you for listening to Queer Stories on the Swan. You can leave a review for us wherever you get your podcasts.
You can find us on our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Christo.
And stay fabulous.